How's that? Did that fix anything? Did that work? Yes? No? Maybe? Ah, there we go. Tried a new setting in... So, there's a new setting in StreamYard that allows you to mute background noise, and I guess all it does is just mute. I guess it just mutes the whole thing, which is great. Sorry for that, but thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for spending your Thursday night, as you always do, with your friends over at TIMBP Live. It is good to have you here. I will go back through again and say that Miss MC smashed that like button early on. Sugar Kitty said lick the like and like the lick. It tastes even delicious, even if it's a bit spooky. And Donna Sheeter just said spooky. Mr. Brewmaster himself, what's up, everybody? What's up with you, my friend? I am glad to have you. Don also said, wanted to order the Barrel Rye, but sadly they do not ship to the 808. That is okay, I understand. But thank you for your interest regardless. Clifton's here, though. I just hear music, and there we go. Thank you guys for, letting me. Good function. Good function indeed. It just mutes the daggone microphone, which I can do on my own. Just have a button on my recorder. I don't need something built in StreamYard. PT Man 20. Parrot. Anthony, good to have you in the chat, buddy. Hope you're well. I need to pour something. I need to get something poured. I figured I'd pour something I haven't had truly a bottle of in a while, and really just don't drink that much of anymore, but kicking things off with. But have you guys ever heard of Buffalo Trace? You ever heard of this brand before? Little craft distillery out of Frankfort, Kentucky. I'd be surprised if you'd heard of them before. Sorry, my hair is getting a little unruly today, so if I mess with it more than normal, I apologize. But I am self-conscious of it. 4 Leaf Whiskey, what is going on? Miss Stacy, good to have you. Buffalo Bill? Maybe? BT equals bit tater? Amen. Patrick, the bourbon noob himself, thank you so much for being here. Hope you're well, buddy. Oh, man. It's been a week. I am unsurprisingly tired, as you can tell. The studio is still not quite finished, but walls are being put up tomorrow. We are going to have the drywall up tomorrow, which means that next week I don't think I'll have paint, but at the very least I'll have a more organized space. That's my plan. At the very least, we'll see how that plan goes. But things are moving in the right direction, thankfully. And moving things in the right direction is my middle name, especially when I'm trying to say to y'all that you should support the stream if you can through our method of super chatting. That's right, we are doing things a little bit differently because that's the way that we have to do them here at TIMBP, just like we always do. They're called Snuffy Chats. They're in support of Mr. Snuffleupagus right back here. He's the patron saint of TIMBP Live every Thursday at 8 p.m. here on the YouTube channel or on Twitch. The donation button for that is in the description below. Stream Elements link. If you want to use that Stream Elements link, you will get your message right up here on screen. Otherwise, there are direct options for PayPal, for Venmo, for the CashApp, whatever floats your boat. But regardless, thank you for being here. You don't even have to give tips. It's just nice that you're here. You could leave a like, you could leave a comment if you're watching on the replay. Listening to the audio-only version as well. This one might not have an audio-only version since half of it's going to be watching and talking about a visual medium. Or maybe I can just trim it down. I don't know. Oh, Perry Russell making a rare appearance. Your new studio looks familiar. Warehouse X? There is some experimental stuff happening down here, so if you want to call it Warehouse X, that's fine. But Perry Russell, I hope that they're giving you enough time out of the cage, as it were. Have you gotten to try any of the Pride of Anderson County? We are going to talk about that on next week's episode, so if you have thoughts or feelings or you want to contribute to the conversation about Pride of Anderson County, hit us up on social media or leave us an email at mybourbonpod or thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. What's everybody drinking, by the way? What you got? What you got? What you got? What you got? What's in your glass? Oh, you haven't had any of the Pride of Anderson County. That is a shame. Well, I doubt that I will have any of it either. On the off chance that there are samples, then maybe. Maybe. But we'll see. Mr. Andrew West. I hear you. And hi. And I said those things backwards as I highlighted different comments. But thank you for being here, Andrew. Hope you're keeping the north warm for us. Or you're staying warm up north. Early times bottle and bond. Nothing yet. You still got an hour of work. Fair enough. Daddy says it's too expensive to waste on my garbage palate. Jimmy. You don't have to have a good palate for something to taste. Garbage. Moved on from a Harrahorn G&T to Maker's Mark BEP. Rare character malt. Where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that before? Oh boy, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Hope it's yummy though. Hope it's tasty. Before we get into tasting and talking about the Barrell Armagnac finished rye, which we will be getting to here in just a bit, if you are interested and you would like to pick up a bottle for yourself, the link is pinned at the top of the YouTube chat, and you should be able to find it in the Twitch chat as well if you are on Twitch, which we're trying. We're trying to get people on the Twitch, y'all. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to somebody very near and dear to my heart. This is my oldest cousin, the creative director, influence, the producer, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mike Skanes. He created and filmed and wrote and edited MAMU, which we are going to be watching here later on in the stream. But Mike, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. Mike, you and Mr. Bourbon Bites himself, actually, Clifton McDaniel, should chat sometime. Clifton works... Clifton, actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say out loud who you work for. I'm sure I can, but I don't want to say anything out of turn. But the two of y'all should chat sometime. Oh, okay, fine. You work... Clifton works for Prime Video. So, and Mike's over at HBO, so, or whatever they're calling it now, Warner Discovery. Donnie the Linux Cat, yo. Hello, friend. Good to have you. Oh, it's specifically Amazon MGM Studios, my bad. See, I wouldn't have gotten it right even if I had tried to say it in the first place. But... yes, around 8:30, maybe a little bit later, we are going to be watching together the short film MAMU, which was directed and created, of course, by Mike Skanes, who is here in the chat, my cousin. Filmed at our old house, which we no longer are in. But I'll have a lot of fun little insights and things to talk about with it. Because I think it's pretty daggum. It's awesome. I hadn't watched it in a few months, and then it premiered today for the general viewing audience. And I forgot how much I love it. Forgot how fun and spooky it is. And I think you guys are going to get a kick. You're going to get a real kick out of it. So stick around for that. Before we get there, let's talk about Northwest Bourbon being in the chat. Cheers, everyone. Cheers to you, Northwest Bourbon. I hope that you are well. Good to see you. No, what we are going to talk about is the newest and coolest barrel pick from not only This Is My Bourbon podcast, but also our co-host, the Whiskey Mutant, and Whiskey in My Wedding Ring, or the Whiskey Ring podcast, Mr. David Levine. This is our Barrell Rye. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Probably not. Lighting's weird. Barrell Rye, private release, cask strength rye whiskey, finished in Armagnac, in an Armagnac cask, 120.14 proof. Available now in the description. Actually, it's not in the description just yet. By the end of the stream, it will be. But regardless, this is it's a very special pick for me, for a few reasons. First of all, we had to kind of mobilize to make this pick happen within about 24 hours. This past July. Was it June? No, it was June. It was June. And we were on vacation. We were in Florida. And David Levine sent me a message and said, I need you to answer this as quickly as you can. Would you be interested in doing a pick of Barrell Rye? We could split between our shows. I said, absolutely. So he had to shoot samples down to Florida, so I could get into the picking process. And the first, I mean, just being such a huge fan of Barrell and the work that they've done. And also, if you are interested more about Barrell too, stay tuned to the podcast feed over the next couple of weeks, because we do have some fun Barrell stuff happening. Whoopsie poopsie. Sorry about that. Knock the camera a little askew. Anyway, yeah, stay tuned, because we do have a Barrell-centric episode coming out in the next couple of weeks. And the other one was that even though it wasn't a full, like, barrel picking experience, like going to a rick house and being able to go, taste straight from the barrel, or have a master distiller, pour it from a whatever. This was the first pick I got to do with my father-in-law, with Mr. Brett Bellamy, my own dear wife's father, whom we have shared, I mean, just an immense amount of bourbon and rye and whiskey together over the years. And for it to have gone that long without having had him involved in a pick was, it seemed like it was time to make that happen. So we did that pick while we were in Florida, came back, confirmed it with Eric. He said yes, that was the right choice, and sure enough, that is what is in the glass. It's what has been bottled for you, dear patrons. Patreon does have there's only really two places that the link is right now. The first one is Patreon, patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast. Every tier there currently has the opportunity to pick one up. But then also, if you're watching the stream, then you also have that link. But we have a lot of bottles that we need to get moved. So please, if you can, there's no pressure, of course, but if you can pick up a bottle, it would be wonderful if you could. It is an exceptional finished rye whiskey that we will get to here in just a moment. But first of all, Northwest Bourbon said, yeah, buddy, just making dinner. I had some nice Factor. I had a Factor meal for dinner tonight. I love it. I'm genuinely a big fan of Factor. I'm not being paid by anybody. They're not a sponsor. Factor's awesome. Big Vic's Backyard BS. What's going on, Vic? It's good to see you, man. Cheers, y'all. Cheers to you, too. Biking Bourbon, cheers, folks. Joseph Brazo, what the hell are you all doing here? Well, I am doing a live stream. What are you doing here, Joseph Brazo? Besides supporting the show, thank you for being here, man. Good to see you. And Donald Rance, another resident Canadian, is in the chat. Good evening, folks. Just dropping in briefly to say hello and cheers. Good to see you. Oh, you know what else? Speaking of other bourbon content creators, I guess I'll go ahead and say this, and I'll talk about it on next week's episode of the actual podcast as well. But I will be joining dear friends Chad and Sarah of It's Bourbon Night here in a few weeks on November 10th for their big bourbon night. And I'm very, very excited for that. I will be sure to get tickets, the ticket link for anybody who needs it. I hope that you guys are coming for that. It's going to be an incredible, incredible event. All of their barrel picks will be available to taste, along with just an insane amount of bourbon to be shared. So we'll talk about that more as time rolls on. But I want to say cheers to you all for being here. Thank you so much. It's good to have you along. Doink. And I'm going to taste on this barrel rye. We can talk about it. And in just about 10 to 15 minutes, we are going to pull up MAMU. We're going to watch that together. Excited. One of the things that we really wanted to go for with this, and it was very evident too that it was the right direction for us to go with this pick, was making sure that the spirit itself, the rye, still showed through despite it being finished. And truth be told, I mean, I am an Armagnac lover. I'm on record as saying that if all the bourbon and rye in the world just suddenly disappeared, Armagnac would be my next thing that I would go to. I think it is just an incredible flavor profile. Nice and rich with still a bit of dryness, and that really gets translated super well to this rye. Almost to the point where it dances pretty neatly between the two. Every bit of that proof is coming through. It's got it really starts to kind of dry out, and you get a lot more of the oak about midway through the palate. Finished lab work, staff meeting, lots of yard work, sitting on the patio having a not Perry pour. Good to have you, Joe. It is good to see you, my friend. Hi, baby. I would take Calvados instead. What if I just straight up was like, I would rather have Malort. That's how broken my palate is. I mean, I know that plenty of people like Malort, but I am not one of those plenty of people. It's just not me. It's not me at all, unfortunately. A lot of red berries, a little bit of brightness that kind of comes from like almost like a butter note. Just a very complex palate. I'm very proud of this. I'm very happy to have a Barrell Craft Spirits pick under my belt. I would love someday to be able to do a blend with them. I do not like to chew my aspirin before swallowing, so no, not a Malort fan. I've not heard chewed up aspirin as a tasting note for Malort before, but that is certainly one. Regardless, though. Had a straight up PX sherry last week that was mind-blowingly fab. I don't know if I've ever had sherry just on its own. Of course, I've had it as a finishing component. I've had it in other things as well, but never just as its own. I've never poured a glass of sherry, I suppose. I would like to. Malort is rough and tumble. Malort is... That's a good way to put it. You heard it from me first. I've described it as crushed aspirin dissolved in squirt grapefruit soda. Wow. Wow. The specificity. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. So, I just want to say again, if you want to pick up a bottle of this, I'm glad I got two. I will say that much. And I hate to sound... I know it sounds... Anytime I talk about a barrel pick or anything, I sound like I'm just trying to sell something. But we don't do barrel picks very often when we do. They are special, and this one feels very special to me. So, please, please, please. Bartender poured it for me to pair with the bread pudding. Interesting. I do love me some bread pudding. I would not be opposed to that kind of pairing. Joe, did you actually say what it was you were drinking? I don't think you did. Yeah, just saying you just said you having a not Perry pour. Curious what it actually is that you got poured up. We are going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we are going to do our first viewing together of MAMU. But you know what I'm enjoying about tonight's stream? It's just chill. Just a nice chill stream. As the dogs bark and go crazy. I don't know what's going on. I never know what's going on anymore, yo. But all right, I am going to go ahead and get this queued up. We are going to pause the music. Mark Emenecker, what did I miss? Just a bunch of having real good times, okay? It's just been a solid hang so far. But barrel pick is good, but you've made it when you can do Nulu experimental. Not a bad point. I guess we did do. Was the maple finished? That we did with Nulu, was that actually considered experimental? I can't remember. Having a special pick from the distiller at Woodinville, almost 7 years old at 123 plus proof. That sounds delightful, Joe. Did you see where Single Cask Nation has a Woodinville pick coming out for whatever Single Cask Nation typically prices their stuff for? I saw it and I was immediately confused. Hello again, whiskey friends. Hello, Mr. Jeff Wack. Good to see you, dude. Oh, it was sarcasm. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Totally fab, this is. Awesome. All right. Well, we are coming here up on the half-hour mark, which means that we are about to watch a movie together. It is a short film. It is not a full movie. It is just over 8 minutes long, but this is MAMU. This is a horror short film that was created by my cousin Mike Skanes, who was in the chat earlier. That was filmed at my old house, mine and Lucy's old house. Lucy's sister Emma is the mother in this case who is struggling to take care of her baby. And Eden actually was the my daughter Eden was the baby in said movie, and we will talk a little bit more about it throughout. But I really wanted to share this with you guys. I wanted to take the time to watch it with the chat because this is such a fun way to celebrate the spooky season, of course, and it's just a really good idea of not only the horror movies that I like. I think that it really kind of encapsulates some of the tension that I enjoy with horror movies, but it also definitely showcases Mike's creative skill. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, MAMU. Is that why we moved? No, it is not why we moved. But that is funny, Donnie. Also, let me know if you can't hear it or if I need to change anything. It's always the cat's fault. Uh-oh. Spooky dude. Oh, it's so good. Oh, man. I love getting to go back and watch that. Oh, that just brings back it's so many good memories of filming that over a 2-day stretch. And the thing that strikes me the most about it was, here, I'm gonna go back to the title card. Was just how much creativity went into just the on-set chemistry and like trying to make things happen. Some of them like that didn't even make it into the actual film, but it works so concisely well. And I love how it turned out. I think Emma is so effective without saying anything. The editing around Eden's cries, everything, like those were all natural cries. Like we just took the opportunity whenever she was crying to shoot, and it worked, and it worked great. As Dad said, also Papa Ritter is in the chat. Behind the scenes, Emma was so hungover during the shooting of the movie. She was a little hungover, yes, on the second day of shooting, when she had also that was we shot on July 4th and July 5th, I think, or was it July 3rd and July 5th? I think it was 4th and 5th. And she unfortunately had a little too much to consume the night before, and took a bit of a tumble down the stairs, and cracked open her chin. So two things to note during the most of that was that she had to have fairly heavy makeup under her chin, and also that she was fighting quite the hangover, as well. But did an excellent job. That was a fun VFX solve is exactly right. I mean, it came together pretty quickly though, if I remember, Mike. And the monster was my little brother, Mr. Dane Ritter. MAMU itself was played by old Dane, and it was so funny watching Dane in this really terrifying monster mask. I wish we had gotten a behind the scenes picture of him when he was filming his parts, so I could share it with you. But he had these just long fingers and the horrible, scary looking face, and just a black suit. And he looked, every shot on that baby monitor was so terrifying. I mean, like, being a parent, I would never, I don't know what I would do if I saw that in Eden's baby monitor. But just incredible framing. I think too, back to this, Mike, especially like the little visual effects tricks that we did with, like, at one point, you know, the chair is rocking and you see the hand kind of creep up over the arm of the chair, and then it quickly goes away, and it was like Dane had to be right back behind there. Maybe I did that at one point too. I don't remember for sure. I think I did, now that I really think about it. But like, there's that shot too where the lights on the Christmas tree that are in Eden's room start flickering. And the way that we did that was we just kind of sat next to the outlet and just kind of like jiggled the plug in and out of the socket, and it worked perfectly. But it makes me think of when, like, comparatively now, when we were selling our house earlier this year and we were getting pictures taken of it, there were so many times where we would have to like shove ourselves into the room that wasn't being photographed, and then we would come out, and like a lot of it reminded me of filming this too, just like what you saw on camera was such a small portion of the things that were also kind of going on around it, and it just between the creative direction and the editing, just you would absolutely never know. But Joe's loving it as always. Fix it in post. And Emma has actually acted since. She has acted since the okay, so Mike actually did just text me a picture of Dane in the MAMU costume. Let me see if I can get it up on screen. Let me stop that. Share screen. Get a window. Oh, come on. Here's what I'll do. I'll save that. But Emma was working on another short film this summer, and I think it's out. I can't remember for sure. I don't know why it's not letting me. Oh, you know what? I know why it's not letting me. Open with preview. There we go. Now I can show you. Yeah, here we go. This was Dane in the MAMU costume. In one of the shots. This shot didn't make it to the actual film. But just good stuff, man. Good stuff. Love the hands. Oh, I thought the hands were great. Nicely creepy. I would have pooped myself. Yeah, Sarah was around too, helping out with a lot of the VFX stuff. I can't wait for the expanded Ritterverse. Don also said, Mike, I know HBO is a large company, but my cousin works there as well, Mara Lopez Nishida. So you might know. I don't know. Eden just acts up. She does act up. She's a very serious actress. But if you want to watch MAMU again, it is available on YouTube to watch on the Film Shortage channel. I will drop a link in the chat as well for anybody who wants to go watch it again or share it around with their friends, but it is out there in the world for people to see now, and I am super happy to have been a part of it. And I thank Mike for giving me that oh shoot, why isn't it working? YouTube was acting up. I apologize. But yeah, I got to do production sound for it as well. So Mike and I did basically all of the Foley throughout, and it was excellent. It was a lot of fun to do. But regardless, that's kind of all I have for tonight. I just appreciate you guys being here and checking this out with me. If you're watching on the replay, thank you for And thank you for supporting the show as always. But John, the Embellish podcast, just showed up at the last minute and blind clicked this link. Glad it wasn't snuff film. No, it's very good stuff, man. But that, I think, is going to do it for this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm sure we will do something a little bit longer next week. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Support the show on Patreon if you feel so inclined. Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast. And that is it for TIMBP Live this week. I'll see you real soon. But until then, I'm Perry, and this has been TIMBP Live.